Thanks for tuning in. Some of you have been asking about welding aluminum to steel, and we've put a couple of demonstrations on the internet, but we're going to show you again that there's different uses for it. To give you an example, this is a new rod that's going to be coming out early next year. It's called Aluma Steel, so watch for that name. Anyways, with this you can weld aluminum to steel, and since you can do aluminum to steel, you can also do obviously aluminum to aluminum and steel to steel. These are a couple pieces that we did, steel, and the reason why we put this together was just to do a pull test. As you can see, it's only about 40 thousandths material, and this held, we picked up like 700 pounds with it, and of course it'll do more, but at 40 thousandths you don't want to go too heavy. And then aluminum, okay, aluminum to steel. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is, I got a pair of pliers here that we want to put some aluminum pads on. And so I'm going to show you. Okay, there's steel. Now watch this. Aluminum. That's to the steel. Hold on here. Okay, so, and the reason we're putting these pads on here is because if you're grabbing parts and they're hot, and say you're working on aluminum, you don't want to gall up the parts. This is a good application for that, although you can do a lot of things with it. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and put some small welds. These pieces of aluminum are very thin, so I don't want to burn it out, so we're just going to put some small tacks on there, just enough so you can see that it holds. So here we go. Alright, so as you can see, we've welded it up, and I'm going to explain a couple of things to you. Because these, well, you can see it's welded there, it's onto the steel, it's on the aluminum. You can see where it's not welded. You can see the discoloration from the heat. Now, if you look closely, it looks like it's kind of burning out a little bit, and that's because these pieces of aluminum, they're just barely over about 1/8 to 3/16, so they're pretty thin. And this piece of steel, you can see how thick that is, and that's why it's kind of burning out a little bit. Normally, if you're wanting to prevent that, you just put a piece of copper so it'll suck up the heat, and it'll work just fine. Anyways, so as you can see, steel, aluminum. Anyways, so there again, that's a rod that's going to be coming out possibly early next year. Watch for it and tell everybody. Aluma Steel. Thanks for tuning in.